This is Dave Spicer. I'm here to talk to you about the current crisis as if we didn't have enough, and that's the automotive bankruptcy problem that I maintain is actually going to be an opportunity for us. You heard right, I'm talking about an opportunity. Given the credit crisis that will not be fixed for months, the automobile industry has an opportunity to restructure itself in terms of labor and technology and establish itself as the world leader in next generation vehicles. You hear a lot about bailing companies out and now bailing out the automobile industry, but investing or bailing out these companies without this restructuring would be a terrible waste of money and time. And we'll talk about why that is. Here's a quick outline. Our automotive industry has not been competitive for a long time, given labor contracts negotiated many years ago. As compared with Toyota and Honda, we are operating at a severe disadvantage. 80% of our new cars purchases are financed, and our credit crisis has effectively taken away 80% of the market. We'll talk about declaring Chapter 11, restructuring labor relationships, and then making an investment to take the international lead in new technology vehicles. So let's look at some details here from the standpoint of competition. This is GM versus Toyota, and this is from a study in 2004 you can find here at tinyurl.com/GM-Toyota. And I've just taken out some of the highlights from that report. First off is profitability per vehicle. General Motors actually loses $2,331 on every vehicle, where Toyota has a gain of $1,488 per vehicle. Average plant capacity, General Motors at 85% sounds like it's good. Toyota with overtime actually gets 107% capacity. If you look at production time per vehicle, it takes General Motors 34.3 hours. It takes Toyota 27.9 hours. If we look at average hourly labor costs for each company, General Motors is at $73, almost $74 an hour. And if you look at this, Toyota is at $48 an hour. And last, if we look at healthcare costs embedded into each car, General Motors, if you take all their healthcare costs and amortize them across all the vehicles, you'll find it's $1,525 per vehicle. Or Toyota, it's $201. So General Motors is paying almost 8 times as much per vehicle. So it's no wonder we can't be competitive given the current situation. Then along came what I call the coup de grace for the automobile industry. The credit crisis has basically eliminated 80% of their market. And that's because 80% of new cars purchases are financed. And if you can't get financing, you're not in the market. I'll talk a lot more about the credit crisis and how to solve it here. Basically, it's a problem we could have avoided, but we haven't, so we are where we are. And given that, investing $25 billion in a bailout without changing their business model or restructuring their businesses would be a terrible waste of money. So here's the opportunity, and it's unique at this point in time. We have an opportunity during the credit crisis for the auto companies to declare Chapter 11 now, and that will preserve their cash that they have, since it will take a while for the credit crisis to free up. Now, what would this mean for their existing pensions? Well, the government would take over the pensions via something called the Pension Guarantee or Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. So in a sense, we'd be bailing them out in terms of their existing pensions. But then they would go ahead and restructure their labor contracts, restructure their debt, get rid of a lot of excess capacity that they're not using, and it's costing them a fortune. After they've done all that, as they're coming out of Chapter 11, then we would make our $25 billion investment to build the cars we want and need going forward and retool for leadership in advanced technology vehicles. And I talk more about that at this location, the kinds of vehicles and what it would mean to our economy going forward. And then lastly, what we need to do is back these companies until they return to profitability. Once they came out of Chapter 11, there would be doubt in a lot of people's mind about purchasing their cars. So we would need to make sure that the government basically guaranteed and back them up until they return to profitability. And when they did so, we would be building cars like this. Not your father's golf cart. These are electric vehicles. This one's from Tesla Motors, Chevy Volt. This is the one that's coming out in 2010. And Chrysler has announced 3 such electric vehicles, the first of which would be out in 2010 as well. So what we need to do is restructure these companies, downsize them, get rid of all the drag on their operations, and we have a unique opportunity, given the credit crisis, to do it now while the credit crisis is going on, so that when we get past the credit crisis, we're ready to roll full speed. Thank you very much.